But first, a few holy mackerel stories from today's news.
After more than a decade of opposition and delay, we've passed inclusive hate crimes legislation to help protect our citizens from violence based on what they look like, who they love, how they pray, or who they are. I promised Judy Shepard when she saw me in the Oval Office that this day would come, and I'm glad that she and her husband Dennis could join us for this event.
That was President Obama speaking about the Matthew Shepard Hate Crimes Prevention Act, which the president signed into law this afternoon. The act is named for Wyoming college student Matthew Shepard, who was tortured and murdered 10 years ago because he was gay. The bill broadens the current definition of federal hate crimes, a definition which had covered attacks motivated by race, color, religion, or national origin. It now also includes gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, as well as disability. It will also allow the Justice Department to grant up to $100,000 to local officials to cover what can be exorbitant costs of hate crimes prosecutions. The president of the Human Rights Campaign celebrated the historic nature of this bill today by telling our producers, quote, "You cannot underestimate that for the first time, LGBT Americans are finally being included in federal code. Today's signing of an inclusive hate crimes law is a significant step forward on the long road to full equality." The late Senator Ted Kennedy, of course, had championed this bill for years, but President George W. Bush had vowed to veto it if it ever passed. So you can file this one under Elections Have Consequences. And now an update on a story that we brought you Monday about a fundraiser involving the supporters of Scott Roeder. Scott Roeder, of course, is the man who is accused of the murder of abortion provider Dr. George Tiller. Mr. Roeder's supporters on the radical, violent fringe of the anti-abortion movement announced a plan this weekend to raise money for the alleged murderer by auctioning off radical anti-abortion paraphernalia on eBay. Their plans of stuff to auction include really creepy art signed by Mr. Roeder himself, a first edition Army of God manual describing methods for shutting down abortion clinics, including how to build bombs to blow them up. Also, an autographed copy of a book by Michael Bray, who spent years in prison for bombing abortion clinics. The Tiller's family lawyer, Lee Thompson, joined us on this show on Monday and said that he would, if necessary, intervene.
Well, obviously, we believe that this is nothing more than a reprehensible publicity stunt that is fostered by the same people trying to sell the same publications that generated the climate of hatred and fear that led to Dr. Tiller's murder. So obviously, if this goes ahead, we'll be asking the Attorney General of Kansas to simply attach whatever funds and use them to help other victims of crimes.
Fortunately, it appears that legal strategy may not be necessary. The auction might end up happening, but it certainly will not happen on eBay because selling how-to bomb manuals and the like qualifies as offensive material under eBay policy. The company announcing it is nixing the auction and will remove any such items if they are posted. Good on eBay for this one, and woe be unto any other auction house that decides to pick this one up.